49ers got a big win on Sunday, but an even bigger loss today with Nick Bosa out for the rest of the season. We'll discuss that and whether or not this team can stay afloat the rest of the way on today's 49K Pod.
You're listening to the 49 Carats Podcast, a 49ers Goldmine production with Stephanie Sanchez.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the 49 Carats Podcast. I'm your host, Steph. It is Monday, September 22nd. Usually on a Victory Monday, sitting at 3-0, me and Weston would be having a ball over here. But unfortunately, that is not the case. But before we get into it, Weston, just hello.
Hello. How are we this evening? Steph, I'm going to be honest with you and your audience. I've been a San Francisco 49ers fan since 1988. You can't hurt me anymore. So regardless of what we're talking about tonight, I'm in pain. I'm upset like everybody else, but I am great. We are 3-0. We are sitting at the top of our division. We are one of 6 teams that remain that are undefeated in the National Football League. Things could be significantly worse in 49er world.
That is definitely the truth, and we will for sure end this show on a lighter note and a positive note. And throughout the show, we'll try to sprinkle in some positivity. But it is definitely difficult when we read the news of today's news of Nick Bosa having torn his ACL. Yesterday, it did seem a little more positive. Like, I don't know. I just got the sense, just Kyle Shanahan saying that initial tests, and of course, initial tests aren't everything, obviously. But, they hadn't completely ruled out ACL yesterday, but he didn't think that was going to be the injury just based on those initial tests yesterday. Today, we found out that indeed it is a torn ACL for Nick Bosa, and he's going to miss the rest of the season, which, I saw this news while I was at work, and I was sitting there. How could I work in these conditions?
I know.
It did take me out of a groove for a bit. And it's interesting because even Trent Williams kind of mentioned it after the game. He found himself thinking about Nick Bosa in the huddle during the game. Naturally, right? Arizona also had an injury that took, their star running back out of the game and for the rest of the season too, James Conner with an ankle injury. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it could be overstated just how big of a loss this is for the 49ers. Again, we're going to look for the silver lining in all this, if there even is one. Weston, I don't know that there is. This is not a player that you simply can replace. But the 49ers, Robert Saleh, they're going to have to find a way to make amends with all of this and, try to make something happen. If it is any solace, I mean, 49ers came out of that game, which was a gritty, well-fought battle throughout. And I felt like there were moments where this defensive line, young rookies came through. And so that gives me some hope. But yeah, I think there's going to be several times this season where we're going to be saying, damn, I miss Nick Bosa.
I obviously, I mean, there's very sombering news that we shouldn't overlook the performance of this team yesterday, going to 3-0 under certain circumstances and conditions. Steph, is my audio right?
It's weird. It sounds robotic.
Okay. Well, I am not a robot. I am a human, I promise. Is that any better?
We got AI version of Weston today.
Is that any better?
I think so.
All right. We'll go with the one pod look. We'll see how that works out. These are new AirPods, by the way, because I somehow lost mine, but neither here nor there.
Still getting it, but
still. All right, hold on. Let me.
It was better for a bit, and then you got robotic again.
Let's just do what we want to do.
Now I can't hear you.
You hear me, Stat? Hold on.
Yeah. And I want to say that sounds better, but keep talking. Maybe say something a little louder. It was like when you were getting loud. It was like going into the robot.
How about now?
You're gonna have to keep talking. Check.
Hold on.
I think it sounds better.
Can anybody hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I don't hear you though. That's my problem.
Oh,
there we go. We're live. All right. Terribly sorry. Apologize for that. The reality is there's no replacing Nick Bosa. Very, very sombering news. You still find a way to eke out a W. I knew this was bad from the get-go. Everybody saw that clip, the thumbs down, right? Like Nick Bosa, like he knows the spotlight's on him. He knows the camera's going to pick that up getting injured. I just think the reality was that was always bad. I think from the moment I saw that, I was like, this is like season ending. I know everybody was optimistic about like the ACL not being the ACL, et cetera. The ACL is funny. You can walk on it if you've torn it. You just can't run. You can't cut. You can't do certain things that are required for the position. No replacing Nick Bosa. That there's a hard stop. Whether you're doing it by platoon, by individual, there's no replacement for that man. What I do actually believe, Steph, is that I don't think, look, the loss of Nick Bosa is significant. I just don't think it's going to be as felt during the regular season. This team at 3-0, should they find themselves in the playoffs, that's when it's going to matter the most, right? Your peak performers, your elite players, that's when they need to show up, and that's when it's going to be glaringly obvious that Nick Bosa is not on the field at that point in time. But I think it's a unique situation, and I think this makes the bringing back of Robert Saleh that much more important, right? To figure out how to like replace. You get like Malik Mustafa back, and maybe you shore up the defensive backfield a little bit. The linebackers are balling. That can camouflage some pass rush deficiency. I could go on and on and on and on. Let's call it what it is. No replacing Nick Bosa. It sucks. Like, especially starting 3-0, and you're like, look at this team. You're playing really good football so far through the first 2 weeks and half a quarter that he made it. So, but what are you going to do? I mean, nothing you can do. You're 3-0. Now as a team, how do you pivot? What are you going to do? And I'm in that locker room. I'm looking to the offense and saying, okay, we can mask this if you can find a way to score 10, 12 more points a week. We can figure it out.
Yeah, and so this is now the third time in his life that Nick Bosa has torn his ACL. And Matt Barrows tweeted this earlier. As a high school senior, 2015, partially torn right ACL, required surgery in 2020. Now in the NFL, tore left ACL in week 2. We all remember that one. And after that season, the 49ers finished 6-10. Robert Saleh was the defensive coordinator. He did have a pretty good defense. You know, they did finish as a good defense that season. But what happened that year, I mean, we remember 2020 was by far one of the most forgettable years as a 49ers fan, but also like the most memorable because it felt like everyone was on IR. I think at one point it was like 18 players or something like that on injured reserve, right? And that included, I think, at one point, even Jimmy Garoppolo that missed a number of games. So George Kittle, that of course did not help. And as a result, they went 6-10. So what we're saying here is, yes, they could do it. Yes, Robert Saleh could make adjustments. They could mask this loss of Nick Bosa. And here we're looking at on the screen the 49ers defensive line. You see a lot of players with promise, you know, Michael Williams, Alfred Collins, they looked great. They're interior guys, but still, you know, in the grand scheme of this defensive line, they look like guys who are going to make a difference this season. All right. Already in the first 3 weeks of the season, we're seeing that. And Michael could line up outside as well, which he did numerous times this week. But you got Yetur Gross-Matos, you got Sam O, you have Jordan Jefferson, and you also have some guys on the practice squad. I imagine we probably see Robert Beal Jr. get the call up to the 53, get promoted. but yeah, this is, and Bryce Huff obviously has been playing really, really well as well through these first 3 weeks on the 53 man. So yeah, they're definitely going to have to find some adjustments. I think that all assumes, though, Weston, that everything else goes to plan, that everyone stays healthy. And to this point, that's just not, it's not been the case. And I have no words at this point for the number of injuries that we see, key injuries with this team all the time. And it really feels like just when you feel like you're going to get players back, more players end up getting hurt. That's how it felt in the training camp, right? With all the injuries then, and then, now you're getting key guys who are missing games, Purdy, Kittle, and now Bosa for the rest of the season. The 49ers are 57-28 in games that Nick Bosa plays, 6-12 in games that he does not play, and that's since 2019. So it's going to be tough sledding. I don't think we can mince words or overlook that fact. Even in the game in which they won this week against the Cardinals, KP tweeted out here, 49ers pressure rate with Nick Bosa on the field, 45.5%. After he left, 28%. That's a significant drop. And also Kyler Murray's average time to throw went up by half a second. And that feels notable, and this is what we're going to continue to see, I think, for the rest of the season. This is how you quantify, I guess, the loss of Nick Bosa.
Yeah, I think it's how do you replace? And the reality is you don't replace Nick Bosa. You had up before all the defense line. You could have 12 more people on that list that have contributions in the National Football League. It still doesn't matter. He's a special football player. He's a special talent who commands a lot of attention, even if he's not producing in the stat column. But when I think of replace, again, I go to the mindset of Robert Saleh. What now? Like you're a defense coordinator, you're not the only one in the league dealing with injuries. How do you manufacture pressure now? I mean, good news is we have seen a different version of Robert Saleh in his tenure here. Previous Robert Saleh, previous DeMeco Ryans was always what, Steph? Get pressure with 4 and we'll sit in zone coverage over you, right? And we'll force you into mistakes because we had the fortunes of getting pressure with 4. We've seen a little bit more about Upton Stout coming off the corner, sending corners, sending blitzes. Fred's been coming more. D's been coming. Like, there's just things that Saleh's dialing up. So all is not a loss. It changes the plan. And yes, you lose a super, super talented football player. There's no denying that. But this is why coaches get paid as well. Robert Saleh, highest paid defensive coordinator in the National Football League. Yep. What are you going to dial up that the teams haven't seen yet? So I think it poses again, I can't be hurt anymore. I can't. I just literally can't. This heart is calloused when it comes to the San Francisco 49ers. I'm excited to see what the creative differences are going to be when you have to compensate for a loss, like, as Richard Sherman would say, Nicholas John Bosa. When you have to account for that, what does that look like?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, this is why Robert Saleh is getting paid the big bucks and certainly the top, assistant coach in the league. So I think he will make adjustments. I do trust him. I think, again, like you said, we have seen new wrinkles from Robert Saleh this year, even compared to when he was last the 49ers defensive coordinator. That, of course, is an encouraging sign. We also mentioned, these rookies look very much ready to be contributors. And so suddenly it's like these guys are going to have to step up big for the rest of the season. They're not really going to have the luxury of time, I guess, to really be contributors. It has to be now. And again, we have seen them make contributions already, even in this week 3 game. But yeah, there's going to be moments where it does definitely hurt. And to the topic of people wondering, well, is it time for the 49ers to hit the trade market now? I mean, they have a lot of money to spend, and now they got a big hole to fill. Well, Kyle Shanahan was asked about that today, speaking to the media. He did say, quote, "We will look at trade like we always do, but there's got to be trade options that make sense for you and another team, but you can't just do that stuff just to do it," end quote. So that just tells me they'll try. They'll see what's out there. They're going to do their due diligence. That doesn't always equate to a trade happening because, yeah, you need another team that's willing to do it. Sometimes even the player that's willing to do it in some cases. And so, yeah, we'll see what comes of that. And also, Weston, it's kind of early in the season. Like it's 3 weeks into the season. We're going into week 4. A lot of teams aren't ready to punt their season and say, let's start having a fire sale and letting go of edge rushers it's a premium position in the league.
It sure is. I mean, you're literally a sixth of the way through the National Football League season. So, like, that's still a long ways to go. We've seen names and ideas passed around. But to your point, it takes 2 to tango, right? Like, somebody has to be a will. All trades look great on paper. Go get this guy. Go get that guy. If I'm being honest, Steph, I don't even know if I'm going that much out of my way to make it happen and mortgage the future. They've done a lot of that in the past, right? And we've seen how that's crept up on them. Let's call it what it is. Like, coming into 2025, the most favorable thing that we could talk about was the schedule, right? There was so many other questions and injuries, and I don't firmly believe in the fandom world. I'll never speak on what goes on in a locker room because these are competitors. They all want to win, and that's always the goal. But in the fandom world, I didn't have Super Bowl aspirations for 2025, and it gets significantly more difficult without Nick Bosa in this equation. Are you willing to mortgage the future, right? Like, are you willing to sacrifice the cap? Look, I do nothing. I let this play out. I try to deal with what we have on the roster. I pick up the phone. I make a few of the obvious phone calls, but if it's not favorable to me, I'm out. You know what I mean? Like, again, I'm not mortgaging what goes forward. That being said, Steph, when have the 49ers ever done anything that you and I have suggested in this process? We'll probably have a player in 2 weeks, but it's in all seriousness, I think you're 2 weeks away at least until seeing that. Like, you really need to see what teams look like a quarter of the way through the football season. That's when they make their decisions.
Yeah, and shout out to the live chat. You guys are chiming in on this topic as well. Filthy Casual says, Super Bowl in Santa Clara, this is the year. We have to go for it.
I know.
And then you got Foot saying, this is bad luck, but is not the time to mortgage the future. And, maybe the truth is somewhere in the middle. The thing is, Weston, I don't think any of us, like you said, really expected that this team would be 3-0. I think at the beginning of the season, we would have been happy if this team just had a winning record and, maybe slips in as a wild card team. That would have made us happy. But definitely didn't have any lofty expectations. Definitely weren't thinking Super Bowl. Just kind of a team happy to be there, happy to improve. And so far, though, I think we've almost surprised ourselves. And maybe the locker room probably doesn't feel that way, but 3-0 definitely comes as a surprise to many. And
3-0, and 2 of those games the 49ers lose maybe even all 3 they lose last year, right? Based on the team. So it's a different vibe, and that's why I think I let it roll, Steph. Like, look, if you've been watching football as long as I have, as long as you have, as long as your father's been watching football, these stories happen, right? Like, it's sometimes it's about how the troops rally around one another with these losses, with these events, with these things. What an opportunity for your youth movement on your football team to get this exposure right now while you're winning games. You got a little bit of house money to play with right now. I think it's a really unique opportunity. I'm never excited about losing Nick Bosa, right? Like, I want to watch him more than anybody. He's a fun player to watch, but I think this also presents a unique opportunity for coordinators, for position coaches, for players alike on that side of the ball. Oh, and by the way, for the offense to say, you know what, defense, you've done some things for us in this era. Like, our turn to pick up the slack. We're getting healthy. We were once upon a time a 30-point team a week game. That wins football games, even when your defense isn't playing well. Can you get back to that plateau? I don't know. I think the bigger thing here, Steph, I'm starting a movement, and I'm not alone. People will sign this petition. They just need to fire the health and wellness and medical staff. I'm not saying it's their fault. It's nobody's fault, but somebody has to be accountable. Yeah, and this is a freaking thing in Santa Clara right now. Like, this is a thing.
The problem with that, Weston, is that it's been a thing.
That's what I'm saying.
Longer than the current strength and conditioning coach. It's been a thing for like 2 or 3 like strength and conditioning coach changes, and it continues to be a thing to where I am convinced, and I'm not even just saying this as a joke, I am convinced at this point there's someone with the 49ers voodoo doll of some sort, someone who put a curse, a hex on the 49ers. I'm not joking. Like, that is my superstition. I am sticking with it. But as Callie here says, trade deadline is the time where we would make a move. Yeah. I agree. I think that's when most teams would be willing to then make a move. At that point, you've gathered enough information to know, okay, this is a good move for my team. Yeah. I think teams aren't really willing to make moves like that at this point, 3 weeks, 4 weeks into the season. So, yeah, I think it's more likely it happens at a later time. But the 49ers will be putting their feelers out there. There's no doubt about it. I mean, we even remember when Christian McCaffrey got traded, they were making calls before that deadline, and we were all surprised to see that trade go through.
I think it is record dependent as we approach the trade line, not just by us, by other people, right? If you're sitting 4-2, 5-1, something along those lines, and you're close, like, you almost feel like you have to make a move a la 2019 Emmanuel Sanders. Like, look, we're fans. 2019 was a special year. None of us thought that was actually going to happen. You know what I mean? And it's like, sometimes you have to capitalize. Like, your hand is forced. But right now, I'm very upset about Nick Bosa if I'm internal, right? I am trying to figure out why the hell we have this injury cloud over us internally, but I'm not making a panic decision at this moment in time. I'm just not doing that. That could sacrifice like the long-term plan for this leadership regime.
Indeed. Catching up to all the comments, you guys are the best, keeping it busy in here. Are you guys ready for, a little change of, well, okay.
I am.
Now you, I just looked at the next slide.
Here we go.
We got more. Oh man, I totally forgot. We got to talk about all these other injuries too before we can get to the positive stuff. Okay, so post 3 injuries to track this week. Obviously, we already talked about Nick Bosa. He's gonna require surgery for that. The good news is, though, Weston, it's a clean tear of just the ACL, no other damage. I suppose that's a good sign. If there ever is one with an ACL, we'll take it, right? So CJ West, the rookie, has a broken thumb. He's going to require surgery. He could play with the cast. I don't know how soon. Does that mean he could play as soon as Sunday? I don't know. But at this point, I'm like, does he really have a choice? Like, go out there. You remember that clip of Scared Straight or something like that when the bad kids get taken to jail for the day so they can see what it's like. And there's that one clip of that kid just like getting told to get out of the jail cell and he's like shaking. That's how they're going to send out CJ West. You play on Sunday with that
dude,
Casio, man.
You got no choice.
You
bro.
got no choice.
Yeah.
You got to get out there.
No choice.
In all seriousness, we'll see. I don't know if he could play that soon. Even with the cast on Sunday, we'll just have to wait and see. Again, it's a thumb. I don't know. We'll see. All right, and then a couple of other we'll sees. The number of players are day to day. Mac Jones. He said he re-aggravated a PCL injury that he sustained, I guess, in training camp, I believe he had said.
Yeah.
So earlier this offseason. So he is day to day. And we saw him. I mean, we saw it. He was gimpy out there. Still got that game-winning drive. We'll talk about that in a bit. Michael Williams with a wrist injury day to day. But Michael did exit the game with this wrist injury, and he did come back. So I suppose we could take that as a good sign. But they'll, of course, be managing his practice reps this week. Bernardo Green with a neck injury day to day, and Juwan Jennings, who missed the game on Sunday with the ankle and shoulder injury. I suppose it's probably the ankle that's more problematic for Jennings now, because he played on the shoulder injury the week prior. So the ankle injury day to day with that, and Brock Purdy with the toe. He will practice on Wednesday, as he has been practicing, although last week he was limited in practice. This week, not so sure at what capacity, if he'll remain limited or if he'll be full go. Not sure. We'll find out Wednesday. And this isn't injury related, but wide receiver Demarcus Robinson, who had a 3-game suspension. His suspension is now over with. He's served his time. And Kyle Shanahan did say that they'll kind of monitor him, see where he's at physically throughout the week, and kind of make a decision from there. So suspension has been lifted. He's eligible to play now, of course, but it just sounds like the 49ers want to see if his conditioning is good enough to be able to play in week 4. So TBD on that. But all right, can we get to the positive stuff now?
Yeah, please. Guys, this team's 3-0.
This team's 3-0. We spent about 30 minutes talking about injuries and Nick Bosa, and let's get back to being positive here. The win on Sunday, I think, was a big moment for this team. It was the first win since 2019 that the 49ers had when trailing in the final 10 seconds of regulation, which means that they come back from behind. And you remember last year, Weston, the 49ers had that game early in the season. It might have been week 3 last year. I don't even remember, but it was that early game against the Rams. That felt like a momentum shifting game for the entire season that kind of told us who they actually were, because it was a kind of in a similar fashion, divisional game. You have a chance to win it. You're not playing the best all game, but you're right there. All you need is to, muster up something to kind of seal the deal. Very similar situation to this week against the Arizona Cardinals, except this time, Weston, they do get it done. They get the game-winning field goal, game-winning drive, and they make it happen, which so far through these first 3 weeks have kind of felt like a theme, which is the complete opposite of the theme we were seeing last year, a team that could not finish. This looks like a team that has some resiliency, has some life when it matters most. What was your main takeaway from this game on Sunday?
Just a fight, and I think that's been thematic through the entire season. I think the first 2 weeks, it was the defense that walked off, right? They did the NFL version of a walk-off and ending the game in the first 2 weeks. And then this week, it was the offense's turn to, rectify what ultimately was a bad call, but an even uglier play and sequence of event to overcome that and go win a football game. Your home opener, just a lot of things that I thought were like really cool about it. It was an ugly football game, a defensive battle. So if you love watching defensive games, like you got it. Arizona, hats off to you. That middle linebacker, whoever that kid is, boy, he can play some football too. It was a lot of fun to watch in my eyes, but I think the biggest thing was not to use a term that we're all using, but the grit, the fight, the resiliency, and to win a football game that, God, if I'm being honest with you, after the safety, I was like, 2-1.
Same.
You know what I mean?
Same.
2-1.
I was like, this is all right.
And my wife's like, you're the worst. And I'm like, I know, but 2-1, you can't hurt me. 2-1. But McCorkle Jones just driving down the field like it's not on one leg, you know. It was a cool game. It was an awesome game. And for me, it was just finding a win. You know the saying, Steph, a win's a win. But for this team right now, you know all of it. Bosa plays a half a quarter. You don't have your starting quarterback. Your minus half of your wide receiver room, right? Like all of these excuses that could be built into it, and you still find a way to win a football game. Like good teams find ways. I feel like right now they haven't been the prettiest. I think this team is far away from executing at 100% on both sides of the ball. But here we are, 3-0. Like that speaks volumes of what's going on in this locker room with this coaching staff. Like I'm fired up, you know, not just because they're 3-0, because I'm seeing like this is deposits now, so you can go make withdrawals later in the year. That's the way that I look at it.
I like it. And I think you were onto something there. I feel like you were saying what I'm about to say here. And it's not too crazy to think the 49ers are really not that good of a football team right now. They're really not. They're really not.
No.
And what I mean by that is they have so much left. They have so much more potential. They have so much that they could be doing. And yet we're still seeing this team come away with wins, and you're doing it without your QB1. You're doing it without your TE1. You know, you finished that game without Nick Bosa.
Yeah.
You didn't have Juwan Jennings in that game. I mean, I could have used any of those reasons and justified a loss in week 3, right? We were ready to do it after the safety, right, Weston? But
yeah,
the point is they got it done even despite all that. And I think that is a great sign for this team and what's to come, because you just know, for one, they're bound to get some guys back. Brock Purdy, it looks like as early as this upcoming game, week 4 against the Jags, he'll be back out there. Not like you can have Mac Jones out for another game anyway, because he's now dealing with a knee injury. But Purdy's going to be back. You're going to get some, more reinforcements. We're just talking about DeMarcus Robinson as well. In due time, we're going to have Brandon Ayuk back out there with Ricky Pearsall, who's currently tearing things up. He's tearing things up. He looks like the real deal, Weston. And so these rookies these young players on defense are going to continue to improve. So I do feel really good about where this team is at, even despite them not being the best team right now. But you know what? They are good when it matters most. And that is just something that we did not see last year. For how good that team was on paper last year, They could not do what this team is doing right now. That is on paper far less talented as of this moment, week 3 of the 2025 season. But I think by the end of it, we're saying, wow, like they got some dudes. I think not to like segue too much. I don't want to go off on this tangent, but the draft class of the last 2 years look so good. Yeah, money, man. Money. And that's going to make all the difference for what the 49ers are trying to do right here in a retooling of sorts. Bravo. I mean, it's looking really good on the field out there these first few weeks.
The result looks good. You know what I mean? The product can look better. And that's what's exciting. Like, you know what I mean? It's because look, we all are highly critical of Kyle. We are, right? I don't think any of us has ever been critical of Saleh, right? I think we've all been secret, like Saleh stands, even back in the day, right? When he was here, when he was going to leave us. So we trust that there's still more to glean from their sides of the football, right? And I think what's really cool about winning without George Kittle, winning without Nick Bosa on the field, winning without Brock Purdy in the lineup is it just proves what I've always said on your show, Steph. Football is the ultimate team sport. Go out there, these guys are all super talented. Like they really are. They are really, even your Sky Moores and whomever, these guys are absurd. But just go do your job and trust and hope that the guy next to you has been coached up and is going to go do their job. And special things happen when you do that. You find ways to rally around each other. I don't know. I just have this look. Do I think this season's going to end in hoisting Lombardi? No, I do not. But I really think 49ers fans are in for a super special treat because you just talked about the last 2 draft classes. You're going to see it on full display all year long. It is going to be right there. Rookies, you can run, but you cannot hide. You are going to be in the spotlight. And here's the good news. Through 3 weeks, some of them have really shined, and we'll talk about that in just a moment here too, not to transition away. But I think for all the things that we're pessimistic about right now, about the San Francisco 49ers, the injuries that seemingly never go away, etc., I think there is just as much, if not more, to be excited about what the rest of this season could be. That's how I'm choosing to go look at this stuff.
And that's exactly how I looked at this season from the jump. I mean, you could look at this team, compare it from last year. Again, on paper, be excited about that roster and what they could have done. And I look at this team with just as much excitement, but for a different reason, because it's just new. It's like planting the seeds and watching a plant grow. Like there's some excitement in that, right? And we're seeing that in real time with a lot of these young players, which, I think that brings us to the moment in the show, Weston, where we got to give some nominations for 49K Player of the Week for this Week 3 win, home opener, gritty win. Can I go first? Because
yes, please.
There's this guy.
I don't know why you always put this pressure on me week after week.
There's this guy I'm dying to talk about, Ricky Pearsall. Slick Rick, man, I can't say enough about him. 117 receiving yards. That's his second 100-yard game of the season. I mean, 15 air yards per target. He's suddenly like this, I don't want to say like deep threat. Like he's not like this burner or anything, but he's getting out there and he's getting the ball. I mean, the 4th and 2 call, for one, that's super ballsy. Super ballsy from Kyle Shanahan. Ballsy on Mac to throw that
40 yards down the football field when you need to.
Yeah. And that's just the trust that I guess Ricky has garnered so far from his quarterbacks. Seems very fitting. And you know what I like most? One criticism that I had of Ricky Pearsall in training camp was that I wasn't seeing enough of him working well through contact. He had moments in camp, especially during team period. He would get paired up with a pretty physical corner, especially against, the Broncos in that practice. Very physical, and he wasn't coming down with the play. Well, I don't know if there's something about just the lights being on, having the pads, or just, being out there on game day. There's just a different energy to it. I don't know. But it looks completely different where he's catching these seemingly 50-50 balls. I saw the stat, I think it was on Next Gen Stats, that right now a lot of his catches are coming within 3 yards of separation of the corner or something like that.
Yeah.
Which generally not a good thing, but at the same time, he's coming away with these balls. He's catching these, and I think that's huge. It's kind of similar to Juwan Jennings in a way, just not a guy who is always going to get a ton of separation, but he is going to get that extra inch or two when it matters most and come away with the catch. And so far it has looked great. 6 of his catches went for first downs on Sunday alone. He's 4th in the NFL in yards per game, 14th, tied for 14th in receptions, 5th in yards per reception at 17.6, 1st in yards per target at 12.2. Right now at yards per route run, he's 11th. He's tied for 2nd in first down receptions. He has 14 total on the season. He's on pace for 1,592 receiving yards.
Oh.
And that is with 2 games without Brock Purdy. So Ricky Pearsall looks like the guy. He looks like a first-round wide receiver, and that's great because I feel like it's been a while since the 49ers had a first-round wide receiver that actually looked as such. So this is very exciting for us.
So after he made that 4th down catch that you're referencing, I looked at my wife and I was like, jersey's on the fucking way. Like, I have to have it. I need to order it.
One, yes.
Yeah, no, numero uno. Like, I just need that jersey in my household. Ricky Pearsall right now, at this point, the routes he's running, you talked about like separation, but not by the widest of margins. So making contested catches, difficult catches in clutch moments, 6 catches for first down.
He had another one where he like twisted his body, like, oh man.
The 4th down he caught against his face mask, right? Concentration, right? Everybody talks about hands. It's not actually your hands, it's your brain. It's your brain that says, I'm going to catch this. Your hands are just a device in which your brain says we're going to catch it. He is the 49ers version of Keenan Allen. He is young Keenan Allen, and he will be. He is him. Like, I'm telling you, like, Ricky has arrived. He will stay here. He's got the right mentality for this offense. Like, he is the route tree. You just see so many different things. And what do the 49ers kill? What does Kyle Shanahan kill defenses with? Across the middle, over the middle, right?
Yeah,
and Ricky Pearsall is sunning cats out there across the middle of the football field. Yeah, wow. I don't even know what else to say. Like,
it looks good.
Wow, it
looks good.
He looks swaggy. He is swaggy, and his stats are super swaggy to start this season. Ricky Pearsall.
I like it, swaggy. All right, that's our first nominee for the day. Weston, who you got?
Wow. I was almost thinking you were going to let me go first and I was going to be able to shoot off about Ricky. I'm going to flip sides of the ball. And I'm going to go to another young buck, and it's Michael Williams. My goodness, this man is as advertised. I know week 1, there were flashes. Week 2, Steph, you and I didn't get to talk about week 2, right? And this might have been my guy for week 2. I think he would have been my guy. And if he was my guy for week 2, he damn sure is my guy for week 3. Don't care about a PFF grade. Don't care what ESPN stats want to tell you in the box score. Just go watch. He is in every play.
He's jumping off the tape.
Literally in every play. Cardinals, they run the ball really, really well. James Conner is a respected running back in this league, who, by the way, I personally am just a big fan of James Conner, so hope he gets right and gets healthy soon. Cancer survivor to cancer survivor. I've always had love for him. He's my guy. In any case, he's involved in every play. And when he's involved, he's still hitting with tenacity. Like, it's still vicious, the contact behind the line, shedding double teams. And he's a massive figure out there. Like, he is a big human being. And he's just, you would never in a million years be like, this kid's 21 years old, right? Like, the way he sets the edge, the interior pass rush. And it's only, he's gonna be like wine, right? He's going to get better with age, like, and experience. And right now he's got no choice. The 49ers are going to hang their hat on this man up and down the defensive line. But like, if you go watch this tape right now, I swear to God, you'll see 98 involved in every single play, whether it's rushing the passer, creating pressure, making stops in the back, almost had that safety, right? That
him and Collins.
With the
and West was on that too.
Yeah, I mean, look, all the rooks came to it was a rookie dinner apparently in the meeting and being hosted by Kyler Murray, but you can't tell me that this guy through 3 weeks is not exactly what the 49ers needed from the 11th overall pick in this draft.
Yeah, Weston, to your point on like just watching the game, and even if you watch it over, if you guys have, the luxury of watching all 22, he's jumping off the tape, and that's exactly what you want to see out of a player you invested 11th overall pick with, right? And I took issue with people after week 1, ready to call Michael Williams a bust because he wasn't putting up pass rushing stats, right? I mean, I think even in the week 1 game, he was showing the impact that he could have as, a run stopper, run stuffer. And in week 2, we saw that come to fruition even more, again, against a team that likes to run the football as much as the Saints do with Kamara and all that, setting that edge. Just looked like a dominant player. And again, in week 3, looked like a dominant player. And when you're getting that soon from a player, it's a really good sign. And guess what? He did have contributions as a pass rusher as well. Like he said, 6 pressures in week 3, 5 of those hurries. 6 pressures.
That's wild.
5 hurries.
Week of professional football. That's crazy. It's crazy.
A quarterback hit, 2 tackles, 2 stops. And yeah, I mean, you got to talk about the near plays too, right? Like in the safety, so the near safety. So, I mean, just he's already a force to be reckoned with, and I think it's not much longer before we see Michael Williams getting even more respect from offensive lines, where they're really going to have to start accounting for him. And you'll see more double teams. I think that's a good sign, Weston, that we're already seeing him split double teams, and he's getting the grown man strength that he showed to get through there and said, honey, I'm home, and hugs the running back.
And slammed them. You know what I mean?
I love that. You see the confidence growing on him. Yeah. I think sometimes you got to get your feet wet in the NFL, even as a first-round pick. You got to start making these plays for it to really click in your head. Like, yes, I belong here. Like, yeah, you say it. Of course they say it and maybe they think it, but to really know it, you got to start making those plays, and he's making those plays. It's only going to get better from here for Michael Williams. I like that pick. It's an exciting one for sure. All right.
Who you got?
I got to go on the defensive side one more time here, and I'm going to go with Fred freaking Warner. I mean, what is this guy not doing out there on the field? It's really just becoming difficult to say anything more on Fred Warner because we've said it all, and we continue to say he's the best linebacker in the NFL by far, by the way. Like, it's not even freaking close based on Fred Warner, where he's at, where he has been. And yet it's saying that just still doesn't feel like enough. Like I just feel like somehow still underrated. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't think people understand. We do. I mean, us 49er fans understand. I know he's regarded as the best linebacker in the NFL by pretty much everyone, but I'm like, no, I don't think you understand. Guys.
Like, how much better he is than everybody else.
We might be looking at one of the all-time greats. Like, I'm not even kidding. So Fred Warner, I mean, in this game, leads the NFL in run stuffs. I guess that's for the whole season. Through the first 3 weeks, he has 8 run stuffs. And just, the impact, he almost had a pick in this one early in this game on coverage. It continues to be incredible. He had the batted pass. That was in the fourth quarter, right? That was huge on, I believe, 3rd down that was. And that forced a punt. So just big plays. When you need him to come through, he's always going to. I love that guy. Like, I can't say enough about him. Maybe you can, Weston.
No, I can't. I am just as enamored with Fred Warner as all 49er fans are. He's really just become a special talent for this team. I think if he's a guy that can find his way at some point, hopefully with the 49ers, to a Lombardi, he's a surefire Hall of Famer. Like, he's that good. He's that exceptional. He's been doing this year over year. We saw how well he performed in an injured year last year. But what's so special about Fred to me is his ability to speak things into existence. You know what I mean? Like, he's in a big moment. It doesn't always come to fruition, right? It's like Jordan and Kobe taking game-winning shots. They actually miss more than they make. You just remember the ones that they make, right? So, like, in the big play moments, it just feels like Fred is there. In Fred, we trust. Like, I'm not worried about it. Of course, on third down, he bats the ball down at the line of scrimmage. It's Fred Warner. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Yes, of course it's Fred who does that and is in the right place at the right time. Just speaks volume of like him as an individual, the work ethic, what he puts in versus what he gets out. To me, Fred strikes me as a guy who truly lives and breathes practice. I practice so hard so that the games are easy because the games do look easy to him.
Yeah.
He's incredible. He's just he's super special. Like the 49ers have been blessed with some linebacker play over the course of the last few years. When I say few, I mean more than few, right? Going back quite some time, 15, 16 years at this point. But yeah, he like when we talk about Kittle, when we get all giddy about how like it's such a pleasure, I get the same butterflies talking about Fred Warner. You know, like he's different. We're not going to appreciate it as much as we should until it's there.
We appreciate it. We appreciate it, but man, yeah, like let's not even talk about when he's retiring because
he's going to play for the next 100 years.
The next 100, he probably could. That guy, but yeah, the game is super slow for him. I was talking about that with Wayne on Friday's show or Thursday's show, and I mean, you see it on the field. He's moving at 100 miles an hour. You could just tell the game is so slow for him, and just the way he's able to dissect and react to everything is top tier. So love that one. Yeah, he made sure to let Marvin Harrison know he was hearing Fred's footsteps on that drop.
I would let him know too. You ain't your daddy, bro. That's just what it's come down to.
For sure. All right. Who else you want to nominate?
I got one more. I definitely got Flowers and everything. I think there's a lot of people that deserve recognition in this game. But we haven't really said it. Christian McCaffrey, 27 touches of the football, 140 total yards. He didn't find the end zone. But this game still goes through Christian McCaffrey. Like every game goes through Christian McCaffrey when he is suited up and on the football field. I know people want to sit there and be like, he doesn't look as explosive. He looks slow. That's not true. It's not true. What you guys are failing to not recognize is that Brandon Ayuk and Jawan Jennings are so talented at blocking from the wide receiver position that picks up extra yards. When defenses are looking around at the 49ers offense right now and they say, okay, it's Mac Jones under center, Ricky Pearsall's at no Kittle, no Ayuk, no Jawan Jennings. We got Sky Moore lining up. Like what do they focus on? Taking number 23 out of the offense, but he still finds a way to touch the ball 27 times in a game. They don't win any of these games without Christian McCaffrey. Let's be crystal clear on this. Big moments, a big-time player shows up in big-time moments. That screen on the last drive of the game, right? All that work by Mac and the receivers and Tonjes is all for nothing if that screen doesn't happen. And I don't know.
That was another big play from Kyle Shanahan on that one.
Yeah.
Showing a lot.
And I know people are pissed off that like on the, when we went for it on fourth down inside, like from like the 2-yard line and didn't get in the end zone. And Christian McCaffrey touched the ball 3 times in a row and he didn't get in. You guys are ridiculous. Because if, God forbid, Kyle Shanahan called one play that wasn't targeted to Christian McCaffrey inside the 2-yard line and it didn't work out, you're like, why is Christian McCaffrey not touching the ball 4 times in a row? I mean, he's one of the best players in the National Football League, both as a receiver and a running back. Hey, I can live with that. I can live with that. We gave it to him 4 times in a row and we didn't get in the end zone. I will actually live with that because you're trying to get your best player on offense into that end zone. That sounds like a recipe for success. I think he's been dogged a little bit because it hasn't looked as flashy. He hasn't really found the end zone probably as much as we would like him to do. But please do not dismiss how significantly you think this offense looks sluggish right now. You should see what it would look like without Christian McCaffrey.
That's okay. I don't really want to look at that.
Don't think about that.
Oh,
Exactly.
I mean, we got
Exactly.
glimpses. We saw that last year. It wasn't
Yeah.
great. Yeah, I mean, I respect this choice. I do think it doesn't quite look the same. I think the run blocking hasn't quite gelled yet. I think as the season progresses, we see that improve, and thus we see Christian McCaffrey improve. But he's still finding a way to make some waves on this team and be a difference maker. 15 targets in the receiving game. He actually had a couple of drops in this one, which was early, which was a little surprising. I'm like, Christian, this is not the game. Like
yeah.
we're missing Juwan Jennings. Like, we need all these catches. 15 targets, 10 catches for 88 yards. I mean, that's pretty incredible. He led them in receptions on Sunday, so that tells you everything you need to know about how big he was going to be as part of this game plan, like he is most weeks, right? But without Jennings, it was even more exaggerated. And again, that run to help set up the field goal, the game-winning field goal, was huge. I commend Kyle Shanahan on that. I was one of those people, Weston, that was a little upset about the three runs, into the at the goal line. I felt like they could have tried something different. Brian Robinson did have a nice run.
He did on that drive.
On first drive, right? I didn't even see your little man over here. I was like on different tabs, but hey, little guy. But yeah, no, I mean, I definitely think he's contributing, and that's what's so crazy about Christian McCaffrey, that he has a stat line such as this.
Yeah.
And we're just like, oh, just another day in the office for McCaffrey. Like, we're not even talking about it. So I like that you bring that one through. Go ahead.
I want your list. Like, I feel like the narrative has been arrow pointing down for Christian, and I just think he's still doing this with so many things like not in his favor. You know what I mean? Like, I don't. Dude, are you out of your mind? This is not a toy. Sorry. Like that he is still balling. I know the usage it wasn't as bad last week as compared to this week, but just shows you how much he matters. Even if he doesn't touch the football, he's the most significant piece on the offensive side of the ball, even if he's a decoy. That's how important he is to the way they do things.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're getting close to an hour here. Let's keep it rolling. I got one more nomination that I want to make, Weston. Mac Jones. I mean, I have to applaud Mac Jones for the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
By the way, in the last 2 games, I know 49K Player of the Week is not just for it's not for 2 games, but I think he did a hell of a job in this game as well. Last week, we didn't do our Monday show, but he would have been my vote for last week as well. In the last 2 games, filling in for Brock Purdy, 53 of 80. He threw the ball so much in these last 2 weeks. 563 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, an interception. As it pertains to this past game on Sunday, 27 of 41, 284 yards, a touchdown, a pick. The game-winning drive was executed to perfection. It really does not get any better than that. I have to apply. He looked very calm. I think that was another thing. Like, it's not just the fact that you're running a 2-minute drill. It's the fact that he was commanding that offense. You see him get to the line. He's doing the whole the calling the plays with his hands, and I don't know. It just looked easy for him in that moment. I was sweating bullets. We all were, but he looked calm and collected. And that is with a knee brace. That is with him being gimpy. There were several moments in this game where you see him hobbling after a play, and you couldn't tell when he actually snaps the ball because he's still moving, getting the ball out to his guys, even on that touchdown of juice. I have to commend him for it. He averaged 281.5 passing yards per game these last 2 games. Did more than enough, I think, to fill in for Brock Purdy. Highest graded player on offense after Sunday's game, or for Sunday's game. And yeah, I just had to give some love to Mac.
Yeah, rightfully so. I think we're not I don't think we have a differing opinion. I think he would have been the guy last week to win 49K Player of the Week if we were able to connect for the show. I almost argue Mac Jones has done too good of a job, right? Now we have, not that we're having any other conversation, but you can have a conversation if you wanted to. And both sides of the argument wouldn't be wrong, but pretty cool territory to be in where your backup quarterback comes in and handles business, runs like game-winning drive without batting an eye. And I think my favorite part about the week 3 win for Mac Jones was afterwards at the podium when he's talking about throwing the interception. He's like, that guy didn't make a play. I threw it to him. And just the way he's
laughing,
having a good time. It's just, I always make this, you're only as good as your backup quarterback, right? That is every NFL team. That's the truest statement in the world. You're only as good as your backup quarterback. I feel pretty damn good about how this team could be with our backup quarterback off of the last 2 weeks. 2 very different performances. One, super high success rate, right? Like moving that ball with ease, stat columns lighted up. This one, not so much. But when the chips were down, you pushed all in and you drove them right down the field, and it on a gimp leg with nobody to throw the football to, and you made it look pretty freaking easy, for lack of a better term. So yeah, no way we could go this entire show without giving love to Mac Jones.
He's in an offense that suits his strengths, and yes,
his strengths,
and he's absolutely going to get a shot. The 49ers signed him to a 2-year contract this offseason, but of course, after the season's over, they could absolutely flip him, and it's not crazy to think that they can get more out of him than they got for Trey Lance, which were the 4th rounders. So yeah, the 49ers playing 4D chess as they often do. But Weston, let's get into putting the nominees up on the screen. Everyone that's still with us here, put your votes in. We got Ricky Pearsall, Micah Williams, Fred Warner, Christian McCaffrey, Mac Jones, and we're going to give some flowers here. Weston, I got to start really quickly. There's 2 players that I think we have to give flowers to. One of those guys has to be Upton Stout, right?
For sure.
And it wasn't because he had entire game type of performance. I think we probably would have nominated him, but I can't let that play go unrecognized in today's show.
No, for sure.
4th down, I believe it was 4th and 9 or something like that. That catch by Zay Jones would have sealed the game.
Ends the game. Completely ends the
game. And let's just say Zay Jones had it.
It was in his hands. Oh,
it was in his hands. He had it. But that's why you're coached to play through the whistle. And this is where I think coaching matters. And I think having a guy with the character of Upton Stout, like if you watch his college tape, you see plays like this all over the place. He plays so much bigger than his size. He played way bigger than his size, played through the whistle there, got his hands in there, did not give up on the play. Oh my God. Like that's exactly what we're talking about. A team with fight, a team that is just an inch better than the other team. Like sometimes that's all it takes, right, Weston? And so I have to give flowers to Upton Stout for that one.
Yeah, 100%. And not even look, that's the most glaring and obvious play. And I know he had some not so highlight reel worthy reps during this particular game. But remember, Steph, when we were talking about early about how do you fill the Nick Bosa void? Upton Stout is going to be a huge component of that. He plays really well close to the line of scrimmage. You're going to see him get after the quarterback, or he's going to be sent on a lot of blitzes. And I think it's really telling that at the end of the game, you saw the videos from the locker room. He's kind of the one giving that final speech after Shanahan goes through his thing. I think they like this kid. I think he's a high character kid. I think he fits a lot of what Saleh wants to do. And I think his role is only going to significantly increase, especially, with Bosa being out, when you have to find unique ways to get after the quarterback. And then that play just looms large. That's a game ceiling.
Huge.
Right? He gives up that catch, game's over.
Huge.
Dude, are you for real?
For the audio listeners, Weston is talking to his son.
My 2-year-old
not
son
me.
is just slamming doors in my office here, apparently. Can I give flowers real quick? I'll say a name.
Absolutely.
D. Winters.
Yeah.
D. Winters, you maniac. Like, he is just all over the field. Like, I feel like he is playing Steph. I think he's actually outplaying Fred Warner right now, in my opinion.
Whoa.
D. Winters is doing the work. Fred Warner is showing up when it matters the most, right? Like, I mean, that's the way that I'm looking at it. Like, and I'm not minimizing what Fred Warner is doing right now, because it's absolutely ridiculous. He's the highest graded defensive player in the National Football League after 3 weeks. But D. Winters is rising to the occasion. I don't want to hear any more Dre Greenlaw comparisons. I know they're doing similar things, but D. Winters is making his own name right now, right? Where it should just be, thank God we have D. Winters, not a fill-in for Dre Greenlaw. Did you see that tackle he made in the open field? One-on-one.
He's gotten a lot of those.
Still planted this man. Not in a pile, not when somebody's legs are wrapped up and he's coming in to clean it up. An open field tackle in the National Football League where he depleted somebody. That's all I need to see, right? This man is a man on fire in 2025. D. Winters, it's been week after week after week, and it's only gotten prettier. Wow. 6th round draft choice. Wow.
It's not long before he's a nominee on 49K Player of the Week. Let's just say that, because he's definitely an ascending player, and not even ascending. Like, from week 1, he's just been on 10. And you see it. You see it every week. He's all over the field, making hard hitting tackles. We always love to see that. And I agree. Like, this is a kid who's playing in his own way. It's not about the shoes that he had to fill. He's wearing his own damn shoes. And they're grown man shoes, I'll tell you that.
They are violent shoes. I know that.
Black Air Forces. Tim's. I don't know. Make your choice. All right, guy. One more player that I want to give flowers to. Anyone who hasn't yet, please vote for 49K Player of the Week before we get on out of here. Eddie Pinheiro. And the reason I didn't have Eddie Pinheiro as a nominee is because I believe those should be reserved for the football players.
He's a kicker. Yeah, exactly. I agree.
Exactly. But I love Eddie Pinheiro so far. I'm loving it. Like, I'm sold. I'm sold. It's early, but I'm sold, because yes, he missed that first kick last week, but he has not missed since. And not only has he not missed, all these balls, Weston, are going straight down the middle, and that's exactly what you want to see. Those are confident kicks right there. He was 3 of 3, including a 51-yarder, and of course, how could we forget the 35-yard game-winning field goal? He made up 10 of the team's points. I mean, you gotta consider that big for this team. This is the type of team that often leans on their kicker, and that's why it was so frustrating to see a kicker like Moody, because we needed more. We expect more out of our kickers, and Kyle Shanahan depends on a kicker more so than other, offenses that fire on all cylinders, right? So a guy like Eddie Pinheiro is very needed, and I like his swag too. Like, he's got some aura to him as well, which is rare for a kicker. Like, which kicker has aura? Definitely not Jake Moody. Not to keep throwing jabs at Moody, but what I love to see, if you're on Instagram and you follow some 49ers players, you see Eddie Pinheiro commenting on offensive players' pictures, and like, he's one of the guys,
for sure.
He's part of the team. Like, that's what it feels like with Eddie Pinheiro. And yes, I say these things about kickers and all that, but to have your team's respect is important. I think Eddie Pinheiro definitely has that. So I wanted to give him flowers.
I've seen enough, Steph. Build this man a statue. I've seen enough. I wanted outside 49 Centennial Boulevard. Like,
no,
I am ready to go. Jake Moody would never. I don't tweet often,
Never.
but I tweeted that about his like celebration afterwards.
Right.
Like never. And
That he was talking his shit.
he was letting people know kickers are people too, you know, like, and I don't know, like I had my back turned to it because I just like couldn't watch it. My wife's watching. I'm like, just tell me if it goes through. And of course, like as soon as I hear them and the ball snapped, I have to jump around and like watch it like actually go through. But dude is money, and you're right. This is an offense that relies on the kicker. Kyle Shanahan is not a big go for it on fourth down, right?
Yeah,
if you're in within 55-yard field goal range, he's going to want to attempt it. He just comes from the school of thought, points from drives, right? Like enough points will add up, and maybe that's what's needed. Like he's exactly what the doctor ordered for right now.
This comment is killing me. Benali says, Eddie P. already the highest scoring player on the team for the season, and he needed a GPS to get to Levi's that morning. I love it. I love it. I mean, probably not wrong. Weston, who you voting for this week? 49K Player of the Week.
It's swaggy, Ricky. It
Yeah.
always was. It always will be. It's Ricky Pearsall.
It was almost unanimous because I'm throwing a vote here for Ricky, of course. It was almost unanimous. We got one vote for Fred Warner. But other than that, all other votes went to Swaggy P. Slick Rick. He is your week 3 49K Player of the Week. We love to see it. Hopefully, we're talking about a win next week, Weston. We spoke at length today. Appreciate everyone that is still with us in the comments. You guys kept it popping as always. There's a Monday Night Football game, as I understand. So we're gonna go pivot to that now. But appreciate all of you. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Hit that notification bell so you know when I go live. Not just on my channel, Weston's as well. Audio listeners, leave a rating, leave a review. For now, folks, have a good rest of your night. Peace.